Well, here we are with our Aries lineup. Thank you for listening to our weekly astrology update. I'd like to think about it. It's like our astrology weather. When I sit and look at this before I record these each week, I mean, it's I do it to try to get my head around and slow time down a little bit. It seems like we're just propelled so quickly now into the future and how quickly things are coming at us. But I definitely think the pace is going to increase very soon. And we're already feeling this quickness on many levels, impatience, irritation, the world all stirring up, being stirred up, being led to stir up. But also there's a lot of creative endeavors, pioneering efforts. And one thing about the Aries energy is it does get all excited, all into something, and then it can quickly drop that and get onto something else or forget totally or just not do that. So there is a little element of that. I just want to kind of say as we watch the world in this little bit of a crescendo, and I think it's important to not be into fear, but to take that I mean, you could see something and it's like you don't want to sugarcoat something bad happening. You have to deal with it. But we can also put more of a protective feeling, a pioneering spirit or energy to something instead of maybe so much irritation. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is this, I think it will quickly burn out. I think a lot of the tensions, a lot of the things that are escalating will burn out on some levels, but then we still have Saturn in Aries to contend with for the next 2 years, 2.5 years, and we have Neptune in Aries for the next 14 years. So we're not out of the woods with it, and but those are a little bit more. I mean, Saturn is still it's a inner planet kind of, but I mean it's a further out one. It's a slower tendency. It's it's like where that is needs to be reconstructed. It needs to have the rotted wood replaced. It has to, bring things up to code, so to speak. So it's like I think it's a good thing maybe for some of the impulsive energy to be restructured. Nonetheless, we have a whole conglomeration of this Aries energy. But my point is, and what I really want to get across, because it is feeling really rushed, really fast, really aggressive, and then into the world. It can be very scary. We're, I think, the closest to nuclear war, and it may continue into that on some level, but we can maybe have nuclear awareness. I'm still holding that light. But we have Venus in Taurus, and we still have Uranus in Taurus for a few more days. But that's going to be a wild card. That'll be like wild man in a wild restaurant with a wild woman in the Wild West. But we have Venus in Taurus, and this is going to be there. And then the sun is going to move into Taurus for the next month, starting next week. So that will, be a little bit more solid energy, a little bit more security minded, a little bit of rationality. And then Mercury is very moving fast. It will speed through Aries and it will be into the Taurus. So I think if we can just kind of hang on and not be led too quickly down the rabbit hole or too, don't have your chain jerked, all this Aries energy is going to lead to quick and aggressive energy. So make sure you proofread. Let's just put certain key things in now before I run through what's going to happen or kind of, I don't want to say what's going to happen. The tendencies will be turned up. It's like if I turn the stove on, it's going to be warmer over in that area. So that kind of a thing. So, and I'm kind of partly saying this for myself because I have a lot of Aries, but anybody that has anything in cardinal signs and in Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn will definitely be affected and feeling this more because you're on the 90-degree points, 180 or zero. It's still on that resonance, that frequency, that harmonic. So we'll get that. People have in more fire signs will also be riled up. Anything that's, of course, in Aries or Leo or Sagittarius will also be stirred up in a good way, but it still kind of pushes you into more of that spicy flavor. Like once you get the spice in there, you can't not. You just got to really dilute it out with other things. But it's once you put some heat in something, you put a jalapeno, you put a Scotch bonnet or habanero in something, it's there, baby. So that's what that Aries energy is like. So with more fire, it's like you're not going to tone it down. Things on either side may be just more irritated. You know, the Pisces and Taurus might be just a little bit more irritated with the Aries energy. Um, I'm just going thinking what other on the quincunx to the Aries energy, maybe the Virgo and the Scorpio. If you have lots of things in Virgo or Scorpio, you will also kind of be annoyed with that Aries energy, but it will. I think the Scorpio will be a little bit more on board because of the ruler Mars, both the same rulers. So that will be more, um, it'll get along better. So I think Virgo, if you have an abundance of things in Virgo, that all of this Aries energy, I think, is going to kind of be really annoying to you, because you're going to see things rile up, things just jump ahead without planning, sloppy work just to get it done, and it is going to just annoy the heck out of you. So I'm just going around seeing what else is. Aquarius, anything on the sextile and Gemini are going to be fine with the Aries, all the Aries energy. So I really feel that the, Pisces and Taurus is going to be annoyed because it's just like, oh, Taurus is like, oh, I just want rest and I just got done with everything and now the neighbor turns on their music. That kind of energy. And then I think Scorpio is going to be okay with it on the inconjunct side, on the other side because Mars is the ruler. But I think Virgo is going to have a hard time with all this and I think, Pisces as well, because it's going to be, Aries is going to see it. Come on, let's do it. Come on, let's get out of bed. Pisces just wanting to, still lay around in pajamas all day. And Aries is already, let's go. Come on. I've been on for the 5 mile run already. This energy up and out. So that being said, we're looking at this week where we really have this pile up in Aries, and then we have the moon going through it all. So this is going to be very, very testy. But again, the Aries energy, use it for creativity, pioneering, newness. Really watch the pushiness and aggression, and I want it done now, my way. Kind of energy. It's hard, but nonetheless, we look over here at this sector, and we have Mercury right now at the end. I'm actually looking at yesterday because we did have a couple of interesting lineups yesterday. Before I get back over there, we have still Mercury right there at that 28th degree. Then it goes into 29, and then it's right over there, sextiling over to Uranus. So Mercury, ideas, um, communication. So right now, this was like yesterday, and then now as Mercury is 29 degrees, let me just go ahead. It's making that perfectly over to Uranus. So use, ideas that are coming in. They could be a little ahead of their time, but you're pulling it in. It's like you're pulling in ideas. You're pulling in, or maybe communication in an unusual way, or maybe a communication is sudden, unusual communication you haven't had, or maybe it's any blend of that type of energy, but it's earthy still, because it's that feminine sextile. It hasn't moved yet into the masculine one, so it's more benign, kind of, so to speak. Um, but today also you can see, like, look at Mercury right at the end. Okay, so we're here right at the end. This is kind of the last bit here because Uranus. Now, this is like, is this going to be one of the last planets that, no, well, the moon will. The moon will be 29 and make an aspect over to Uranus. And then I think that'll kind of be it for aspects to Uranus before it changes sign for the next 7+ years. It's kind of funny when planets change, bigger, outer planets change signs. It's definitely a goodbye because, Uranus energy is 84 years. Unless you're like 1 years old listening to this, you're probably not gonna be a big deal. But everybody else won't experience any of that, these things to Uranus in Taurus here again. So very interesting. We had several planets change signs, and we have that finality of certain type of energies. We have this containment of this Uranian energy, um, this electric energy. It's like trying to contain lightning. It's trying to hold back innovation and ideas, and it's trying to keep it down and like dole it out slowly, but you can't contain it anymore and it's about to erupt. So we're right on that threshold. And I just want to point this out a little bit because it's going fast. And once it's gone, it's gone. So maybe this time, this week, while we're still having all this in Aries, it's just a little bit of time of reflection on where we want to aim the cannon. Where do we want this energy to go? Which direction in your life? You know, are you gonna like take these innovative energies and then go forward? I think it's important. So anyway, enough of that. What we can see, that's that last hurrah over here before Uranus goes in. But Venus will cross over and give the blessing there before Uranus actually goes into Gemini. The dance that the things do when when we can pull back and look at it, it is just it's fascinating and it really shows how the outer really reflects back on the inner or the above and to the below. So are just now moving into this new energy and look at the moon. Well, today let's go on. It will cross over, which it did. It crossed over here, and then Mercury changed. Look at that. I mean, see, look, it's Mercury's about to change, but not by itself. The moon comes and ushers it in. Let's just go look at a little bit of the hours. I just find this totally fascinating how the moon is usually there. Keep your eye down on the moon. It will go clockwise here. See, they're still there. Moon is just, see, moon's 22 degrees, moon's 23. 24. See, but Mercury's already changed there now. So early, like around 11 something. But let's just get this back over so we can see it. But the moon is right there by Mercury, ushering it in, being close. And I got you, bro. I got your back. Here we are. It's okay. It's okay. All right, let's just get this back lined up to days. I like it up here. You can just see it a little better. All right. So here they are, coming into here we at today. Oh, what happened? Oh, let's go ahead. All right, the next day. Okay, here we go. Wednesday. So we can see the lineup now. And again, the moon nodes are still in this axis. They're that's still giving us a little bit of that Pisces Virgo um, water and earth energy, a little bit of that. But nonetheless, here we go. If they're all right here, look at one, two, three, four, five, six. Wow. And then we got Chiron 7. So let's just think about that a moment. So we have, of course, Moon, and it's going to get, as we get closer to the end of the week, we're going to have it in another day here, day and a half, join up with the sun, and we'll have our new moon in Aries. So how fresh is that? This is like, I think on some levels, we're going to be, it's just intuitively, I get the image of, you're pulling the last the calendar off, the sheet of paper, you're ripping it off and you're ready to get the new one underneath. This kind of reminds me of that when we had that Neptune Saturn lineup, but then, as it walked into Aries, but now we've kind of got all of these inner planets and one outer planet in Aries. Other than Venus, Venus is like, I'm out of here. I'm not, it's not my kind of party, man. I'm gonna go over here. So it's kind of interesting. So here we go. Look at that. That is amazing. Okay, so what we're gonna have is a bunch of sextiles and a lot of conjunctions. We can start with the conjunctions with the moon conjuncting everything. So this is going to start Wednesday. We're going to have the moon in Aries. So we're going to be really, stirred up. It's going to be kind of aggressive energy. It is. And I kid you not, don't do extra coffee maybe, on Wednesday or not too much stimulants. It's going to fuel the fire. Try to be well rested as we come into Wednesday tonight. If you're already there and you listen to this, just, chill, take extra magnesium, lavender, things to calm down. It might be really good to note that. It's just like, wear things to calm you down, calming stones. Don't wear lots of copper and gold that day. Wear more silver, stones of the moon, cooling, Larimar, being hydrated, wearing blue and green colors, all these types of things to, keep it cooling, baby. Keep it cooling, baby. All right, so, mind is going to be sharp. The mind, well, again, the moon, you're going to have aggressive motions. Mind is going to be sharp. Mind is going to be more poignant. The Mercury there in Aries is going to have maybe lots of new ideas, pioneering new things, being more on your game mentally. I'm looking forward to this because it's been in Pisces and then retrograde and there for a while. It was just like, okay. And it's like seeing the illusion, seeing the stupidity, seeing the lies, seeing the illogical crap in on so many things. I think with the Mercury moving in Aries, it's going to go like, holy camoli, wow. I see all of a sudden it's like things are going to clear up. It's like I've been looking at that and I haven't seen it. Maybe that's the way you'll be able to see, not just look. So I think with Pisces, like the gaze gets like what would I say? When you're staring out the window daydreaming, it's like a daydreaming gaze. You're kind of wide and you don't really see your unfocused eyes. I think with Aries, with Mercury and Aries, the vision, the focus, the eyes, everything kind of comes back and more poignant and into a single object. You can focus again. It's like all of a sudden getting good glasses and being able to see in a distance or see fine, the images all of a sudden get sharp. So I think the brain, we're going to be feeling this for the next several weeks while Mercury goes through Aries and conjuncts all of the planets there in Aries. So it will first come up with, in a day or so, it's going to come up with Neptune. So Mercury coming up over to Neptune right over here. So let's go ahead. See how fast. Look at in one day it went. Wow. There it is. Oh, this is clicking through it. Well, maybe it's clicking kind of fast. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so Wednesday it's 0 degrees. And there Thursday it goes 2 degrees. Wow, almost 2 degrees a day. It's flying. All right, so yeah, Mercury jumps in. You start getting independent thinking. You maybe you talk faster, maybe new ideas. You get maybe flashes of intuition. When in Mercury and Aries. But then it now comes up with right next to imaginative Neptune. It's be right there, right here, right? Imaginative Neptune. So it'll be having more. It's going to further the intuition, if further those bringing those dreams into reality. All that stuff that we were going through with all the Pisces, all the group in Pisces, all the dream, all the looking deep at something, imagining, and now the rubber's starting to hit the road. Things are coming more into the fore. Your decisions will get clearer. It is this way or is it's that way. It's going to be getting a little bit more polarized, a little bit more clearer. The vision will start to, the more light will come in and you'll be able to see much better. So the imagining, these imaginative ideas are going to then start to get more energy as Mercury then goes over that imaginative Neptune, make the conjunction with that, then it's going to be going over to Mars. I just want you to see that as we go on. And there it all is. All right. So one thing we're coming into here is Mercury is going over. It's going, let me just go back here. Okay, so we have this lineup now of Mercury, Mars, and Saturn. You see Saturn and Mars are together here as we go into the week. I'm going to move it back because we have some other things, but I just wanted you to focus on this a second. So Mercury and Mars. So we have, let me just go over that one first since it's right there. So Mercury and Mars, energy to bring forth those ideas. It could be also talking very fast, information coming through very fast. You might need to have jot it down, put it in your phone, speak it in an app so you have some of these ideas right in shorthand, whatever it takes. And then it will then go over Saturn and slow down and get a little bit more structure. So it's going to be okay, and then it's like, okay, now no, that's stupid. That won't work. Nope, 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 nope. Here it is. And then you'll deduce it all out. So I think go with all of that and then know that when it comes up to Saturn, you kind of want to wait for that. And that's a good thing. It's like honoring that. It's like, okay, you gathered all the rough stones. Now you have to start tumbling them. You have to put it in the grit that's the coarsest to get it ground down, and then you keep going finer grit until they're finally all nice and polished. It's kind of like that. It's like you're bringing in everything you're gonna get now. All those ideas, you got to file off all the rough edges. You got to get rid of the ones that aren't good. You got to then bring out the shine and make it, bring it up to focus. And that's what Saturn, I think, is going to be doing with all these ideas. So this will be happening over this next week. Let's just look here. So Mercury, you can see Mars and Saturn get together, and again, it could be it could be many, many things, and it always is, but we still have energy Aries, and then we have restructuring Aries. So pioneering new restructuring efforts, uh, cleaning and rebuilding or remodeling, reproportioning something that's more efficient, putting energy into a solid structure that's been thought out, that's maybe innovative at the same time. All of those energies coming through. And then the sun is just moving slowly. It will make this last semi-sextile, sorry, over to Uranus. Yeah, I thought there was one more. So yeah, sun is over there. Um, and then we're getting now more solid. So coming across all of this Aries stuff all week, and I already went over the moon here. I'm going to come back to it, but I just wanted to give you the big picture. Then the moon, then the sun now is done with all that, and then goes into solid Taurus. So I think, here next Monday, then we're going to have like a real change of energy because we're going to get this real fast and crazy energy with the Aries, and then I think it's going to slow down because sun's big energy, and all of a sudden it's into Taurus. Okay, so we have till next Monday to make use of this now. Let's go back a little bit because there's a few more things going on here. Okay, Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday is the moon is going through here. It's going to conjunct Mercury. It did that. So we've got some mind and feeling, getting in this Aries or pioneering or aggressive kind of energy. And then you'll have the moon making a conjunction over to Neptune. So it could be I feel that's more of an intuitive thing. I think, that Aries, Moon in Aries is going to lend that, Aries is intuitive. It gets that flash of energy. So with all that much there could be real flashes in getting this stuff from Neptune, getting it back. What do you really want? What are you pulling through? What is it that's true for you? And then goes over Mars. Again, I'm just kind of reiterating, which will give it energy. And then Saturn, you get to restructure and sh- you know, um, shore up what works. There we go. Just kind of finish it off. And then Thursday, there we go. So Thursday now we have Mars at 5 degrees sextiling over to Pluto. Hits at 5 degrees. So this is interesting too. So now we have two malefics. Let's just do this. We got two malefics. Use your energy constructively uh, to serve society. That's a good way they put that in here. So yeah, Mars energy, Pluto the depths. Maybe the energy to really how do I say it? Undercover, uncover. There we go. It's to uncover things that are hidden. Shine that Aries light, that warrior energy into something good for the people. That Pluto and Aquarius, the depth for people. Really get to the bottom of things. It's interesting because stuff's just really going sideways. I don't know how that would play out, but maybe that energy there, that newness of pulling through, even through the darkest hour. And then Mercury, we already talked about this one, the conjunction right here, that sensitive imagination, mind, Mercury over to Neptune. Anything else? It could be sensitive to the thoughts and ideas of other people. Yeah, I like that. And being creative, bringing forth those creative moments. A. Okay, so coming in Thursday, and then now we're coming into our new moon. Let's go back a few hours. Uh, we just passed it. It's at 27 degrees. There it is. Pretty close. Get them all lined up. No, no, gotta do it that way. Okay. So anyway, all right there, interesting, right by Chiron. So can we have the energy to heal old wounds also? Can we get rid of baggage that we've been carrying around? Can we get rid of the way we bitch and moan and harangue Oh, they're that way. When you listen to other people talk about other people, it's like, do I do that? How do I talk about people? How do I do that? How do I deal with those wounds? Do I keep projecting them out there or do I deal with it? So I think a lot of that will be coming up with this new moon, new ways of handling old wounds or new ways of not to get wounded. It's like God, I keep getting my ankles hit. Maybe I'll learn to jump. Uh, so yeah, that's kind of a big deal. And then right over, that's giving our semi-sextile over to Uranus. So there's some still that contact, no matter what, it's still contact, and that can be some things that are sudden, so that are that kind of a knee jerk. Oh my gosh, oh wow, that's it, that clarity. Whoa, I didn't realize that kind of thing coming in. All right. Friday. Anything else I want to tell you on Friday? So big intentions really just coming into the newness of things. It's spring, it's a newness of you, it's a lot of new energy, pioneering, bringing forth your best, your best creative endeavors. Really trying to say, is this the best way I can handle this person or this situation? Try to say that. That's kind of that warrior Aries, it's like doing the right thing, stepping up to the plate. A lot of that good Aries energy. Yeah. So as soon as the new moon it happens, then the moon is done. Then it can go into Taurus and be exalted and then go hang out with Venus. It'll be like, oh, I am done. Oh, yay, let's get the moon. There we go. So late Friday or mid Friday, then the moon is done. And it's like, oh, it can be in its sign of exaltation. So it loves to be in its home away from home. It's gonna go hang out and meet up with Venus and Uranus before Uranus changes sides. We have a busy week. Okay, so it'll be next week, but it's still coming into that. It's real close. Look at that, how close that is. So here we are, late Friday. And then anything else I'm going to tell you then? Nope. All right, so Mercury next day. Mercury then makes a sextile over to Pluto. So Mercury, mind, depth, Pluto. What do we say here? What they got? Research topics and form your own opinion. You may be impatient with superficial understandings. That's because of the Aries. That's funny. All right. So what else? So mind, communication, the way you communicate, brusque aggressiveness, being with Pluto, depth. This could also kind of be kind of like a prosecuting attorney kind of energy. It's like, what were you doing on the night of April 22nd? Uh, anyway, this kind of deep investigative energy, being having that creative spark, maybe seeing something through to the end. This could ground, or I should say, maybe help Aries finish something here by Pluto in the depths. It's like maybe making sure that Aries energy does finish a few projects. Okay, and then Sunday. Coming on to Sunday. Now with the sun is late in the day, the sun will move into Taurus. The sun again has gone over Chiron. Anything else on Sunday? Um, Mars, yeah, we already talked about Mars and Saturn. So we have the actual conjunction of Mars and Saturn here. So yeah, it starts to sober and get structured a little bit, and then the moon will go, then the sun will go into Taurus. So let me just hit that here. When it's actually sun. It is late in the day. It goes sunset. The sun goes down. It's last in Aries, and then boom, after sundown, at least East Coast. So, um, yeah. So now we're gonna have quite a different flavor as we feel as we get into Sunday. It's sort of like finished with certain things, but yet we still have Mars and Mercury going to be working through Aries. Again, we have of course Saturn and Neptune's going to be there, so they're going to be placeholders for a bit. But Saturn, Mars, the energy, it's in its own sign. It's the warrior. It gets to just be a badass and gets to be energized for the next several weeks. And so does Mercury. The mind gets to be a little bit more on point, on guard, or maybe pushing ideas forth. Make use of it. This will be good. This is good use of this energy. So I think this is the time that we should take. How do I want to say it? the best time to utilize that energy. Okay, and then coming into onto the 20th on Monday, Mercury's got that we got that square with Saturn. We already talked about that. That's the exact here where they're actually all at 8, 8, and 8. That thought that's kind of cool because Mercury now passes them all. Saturn's the slowest, right? Then Mars has moved forward, but they've all moved into 8 degrees. Very interesting. 8, 8, 8. So if you got anything around the 8 degrees, that could be very interesting. Anything on the angles, right? If you're squaring or opposite to that, that will definitely rev you up. So good stuff. Interesting. It could be edgy, but it's very energizing. I think it's definitely we've gone from lulled, being deep asleep to highly active. It doesn't seem like there's been much time in between. It seems like maybe again, you've overslept and now you have to get up in a hurry kind of energy, sort of how it feels. All right, coming into the end of the week. What else I want to tell you about before we get into next week? Well, the moon is then moved into Taurus. We've got structure, and then it's moved into Gemini, gone over these planets that are going to just about, I should say it, into Venus and Uranus, the end of Taurus. And so the moon has gone ahead of them. It's gone and looked and cleaning up the room before they move in. So we're going to look forward to that next week. So Venus, now this will be interesting. Last thing for today is we come into next week. Venus is going to be here making a conjunction over to Uranus. So this is going to kind of continue this sort of Aries energy that we have, Venus pleasures and suddenness, and that then it's going to be hurled into Gemini. So again, it's like, okay, you've been eating your bonbons for a while now, time to get on a diet and start exercising or get moving, So Venus had a little bit of a break. Now it's going to be moving into a lot of variety. A lot of things are going to be, those ideas maybe are going to spread out, that we're formulating now. And then when Uranus moves there, big things happen. We'll get to that. We've talked about it, but we'll get to it. It's going to be next week. But anyway, Venus is going to be making this aspects to all the outer planets. So this is very interesting. That's when I think we have more things from that we don't know of yet, things that are maybe invisible, things, help from above or help from somewhere. Because Venus, I mean, the outer planets are things coming maybe toward us more from realms we don't really realize. It's that kind of an energy where the inner planets are closer and they impact us more on certain levels, on the daily levels, where the outer planets are more of a distant, but they're stronger. It's like somebody doesn't have to say a lot of words, they just say something really impacting to you. It's kind of like that. But anyway, it's making Venus is going to be here making a little kiss here, a conjunction with Uranus, and then it's also as it moves into Gemini, it will then be really close to Neptune. I mean, the degree wise at 0, 2 degrees. So it will be sextiling over to Neptune. And then as it moves on, getting to 5 degrees into Gemini, it will then be making a trine over to Pluto. So a conjunction, a sextile, and a trine, those are all pretty good. Conjunctions it could be, it's just like somebody standing really close to you. It could be good or bad. It depends on how they look and smell. I'll just leave it at that. But then a trine is, that nice angle, 120 degrees, and then a sextile is half of that, which is again a nice angle of 60 degrees. So those are good aspects with Venus. And the reason why I'm ending with all that because I think things seem or could seem bleak on a lot of levels or real aggressive or real crazy, but there is some kind of a resolve. It seems like there is some kind of a something out of the that we can't imagine yet, hopefully coming in to brighten the day, to save the day. Underdog, that's it. Underdog is coming to save the day. That's what it is. All right. Thank you for listening. See you all next week. Have a good week. Bye for now.